Ready to dominate at the plate? Blast Baseball is trusted by more major league and college teams than any other hitting solution. The Blast sensor attaches to the knob of any bat, providing real-time feedback with every swing. Go to blastmotion.com and enter code NOWD1 at checkout to save $25. All right, everybody, it is 9 o'clock. Let's get right into it. We do this show every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on X Spaces. I'm Alan Gay, and this is Now D1 Speaks. Hey, we got a really great show tonight. We're not going to be with an uncommitted prospect. We're going to be with a head baseball coach. We're going to be with Coach Coach Bennett. He's the head baseball coach at Randall University. Hey, Coach Bennett, are you there?
Yes. Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, man, fantastic. I've really been looking forward to this evening. But I got to say, I can hear a little bit of background noise. Are you at home?
I am not at home. I am currently sitting shotgun in the van, headed back from a 16-inning scrimmage that we had against Northern Oklahoma College today.
Man, if that isn't dedication right there, thank you so much for taking time to join us. I know this is going to mean a ton to our core audience of uncommitted high school prospects and their families as well. So give us a little bit of feedback, man. 16 innings. Oh my gosh, because I know we had some time set aside. Obviously, the game ran a little long.
It did run a little long. We started at 1 o'clock. Didn't get out of there till almost 7. Stopped, fed the guys, and now we're finally headed back home. So a lot of guys got a lot of innings today. Played 3 different sets of guys. We're about 3 deep at all of our positions right now. So all the guys got innings in, got at bats. So it was a good day. It was a long day, but it was a good day.
Man, this is college baseball at its finest right here, right in the heart of Oklahoma, man. Nothing like an hour and a half drive or 2-hour drive after a 16-inning scrimmage. That's big time.
And all the guys are in the van with me today. So everything that I say, is 100% accurate, because I wouldn't tell any fibs. I wouldn't tell any fibs anyways, but they're definitely going to keep me honest.
Well, I got to tell you, with all that pressure, it's going to keep me honest as well. So this ought to be a great conversation. So let me ask you, Coach Bennett, man. So let's get it started. Kind of introduce yourself and a couple things I'm really interested in. Hey, man, where'd you play college ball? What positions did you play? And how did you ultimately get into coaching?
Well, my college career started at Tarleton State University in Stephenville, Texas. I had the privilege of playing under Hall of Fame coach Jack Allen. Ironically enough, that coaching staff also included Joe Filani, who also became the head coach at Tarleton State, and Coach Conger, who eventually became the head coach at Tarleton State and also a major league coach. So my freshman and sophomore year, I got to experience legendary coaching, I guess you could say. And then I played for 2 years, and after that, I got out of the game. I became a student instead of a student athlete, and kind of focused on school. And honestly, that's kind of what led me into wanting to be a coach, was my experience that I had. I wish that I had some guidance to help me walk through that and understand what was happening. And I want to be here for the college athletes so they don't kind of follow the same footsteps I did and don't finish what they started and complete their dreams.
Hey, cool stuff, man. Thank you for walking through that. So, what year was that when you were a freshman at Tarleton State?
1997-98 season was my freshman year. That was our first year that they had moved up to Division II at the time. They had just moved from NAIA to Division II, and of course now they're Division I.
Good stuff, man. Are you from Texas?
I am. I actually am a Corsicana High School graduate. Went and played baseball at Tarleton, and then after that, I finished up school actually at Texas Tech University. So I'm Texas born and bred. Didn't get to Oklahoma until later on in life.
Okay, gotcha, man. I can't wait to walk through all this. Let me ask you though, what led you to Tarleton State? I mean, how did you find them, or how did they find you? Kind of give us a little insight into your recruiting experience.
They found me because it's actually it's a long story that it's a short story. They were there recruiting a kid that I played summer ball for. I ended up having a very good game, and they invited me to one. Back then, we didn't have social media. There wasn't prospect camps every weekend, all that kind of stuff. So they invited me to come to campus, come on a visit, work out for them. I did. It was me and about 4 or 5 other guys there that day that went through a workout and took a visit, and they offered me opportunity to play college baseball. And that's kind of how I ended up there. Recruited out of, again, back then, wasn't social media. We didn't have podcasts. And I was not recruited out of high school by anyone. I had talked to people. I was on teams where scouts or colleges were there watching other people, and I'd had conversations, but I was not highly recruited out of high school.
Gotcha, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's an awesome story in and of itself. So let's talk about your coaching a little bit, and just kind of give us an idea or a sense of your coaching journey. Any stops that you've made along the way, and how those different places have really shaped the way you coach today, your philosophy.
Well, my coaching when I got to Oklahoma, I helped turn the men's. We had a men's league here that in the Oklahoma City Metro, and it was a lot of college players that were coming back for the summer and things like that, or they might have just finished up with college and they were looking for a place to play. And I moved 9, I helped transition that men's league into a college summer league. We actually played in the NBC against West Texas A&M. At the time, Hillsdale College, which is now Randall, which is where I am. Hillsdale College was in the, and I wasn't coaching there. I had another team, but they were in our league, and we took some of the local Oklahoma City colleges, excuse me, the junior colleges, and brought them in and helped turn that men's league into a collegiate league. And then from there, I coached junior high baseball for a little while at a local community Christian school. And then I took time away. I stepped away from coaching so I could go to my boys' baseball games, do things like that. And then I started coaching when with travel ball, the showcase ball. I started doing that, and just decided that college level was really where I wanted to be, and that's where I could, connect with the guys the best and do the best work on multiple things that we'll probably get to a little bit later. And so I just they were hiring here at Randall for an assistant coach, and I got the job, and now I'm the head coach. So that's kind of it's not one of those. I didn't start straight out of college and start as a grad assistant and work my way up or anything like that. It was just kind of I stayed in the game and looked for the right opportunities for me, and I ended up here.
Amen, brother. Man, it sounds like you took the right path all the way around. So, what year was that when you accepted the assistant coaching position?
2021. So I spent 1 year as the assistant, and then took over as the head coach the very next season.
Okay, so your first season as head coach was 2022.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got you. Fantastic. Well, man, I
No,
gotta.
no, I just said that wrong. Last season was 2023, and that was my first season. So I was a year off. So 2022, I was the assistant. 2023, I was the head coach, and then this will be my second year as the head coach.
Okay, well, hey,
Sorry about
man,
that. We can
not.
edit that out, right?
Hey, no, better yet, just let's thank the guys that are in the van because you said there was going to be no fibbing and they were going to hold you responsible. So, hey,
Exactly. Exactly.
No question about it. So that even makes it better because here's the next thing I want to ask you about. How was that 2023 season? I'd love for you to get into it and really talk about last year.
Yeah. Well, when I took over in May of 2022, I'm going to kind of go back a little bit to kind of build up to that. When I took over in May of 2022, we had just graduated, 16 seniors. I had 8 guys total coming back to the program. A lot of my guys that were coming back, had called me and said, "Hey, coach, I'm not sure if I'm coming back because I don't even know if we're going to have a team." And I assured them, yes, we're gonna have a team. I'll get guys on campus and we'll get this thing figured out. And so I nose to the grindstone and started recruiting and put together what turned out to be a pretty good recruiting class. Had 27 guys on campus my first fall, and then I brought in 12 more at the break, and ended up with 35 total after transfers, grades, all that kind of stuff. Had 35 total on the roster for spring. Um, I say all of that to kind of, that kind of goes with what happened in the spring of 2023 and the season that we had. I had told the guys from the very beginning, I broke the season down into 3 different seasons. We had pre-conference, we had conference, and then we had the postseason. And I knew our goal was to have a great postseason. So I took the record. We did not have a really good record. We only won 3 games in the regular season. But I think all of the guys can attest that a lot of that was contributed to just still trying to figure out who we were. Having that many new guys on campus, having that many new guys come in at the break. I was still trying to figure out which pitchers were starters and which pitchers were relievers. I was still trying to figure out, who my outfielders were. I was still trying to figure out the batting order. Why my one hole could, hit 400 when he was leading off, but only hit 180 when he was batting fourth. Things like that. We were still trying to get figured out, and we worked through them. And the one thing that I'll say about the guys is they showed that when we stick to a plan and we have a goal in mind, that what we ended up with in regionals was we were focused. We had prepared all season for that moment, and we took full advantage of it. And that's kind of how the season unfolded and why it looked like it did.
Oh my goodness. I tell you what, there's so many questions I got right here. This is a fantastic call. I am so happy you hopped on. Hey, I'm so happy everyone else is hopping on as well. Anyone that got in late, don't worry about it. We record this space, and one of the reasons that we record it is so that we can retweet it out in its entirety. So you'll be able to hear the entire interview. For anyone that's just jumping in right now, this is Now D1 Speaks, and we're speaking with Coach Jared Bennett. He's the head baseball coach at Randall University. He's in a van. He just finished coaching a 16 inning game, and he was kind enough to see through and jump on a phone call with us, and we absolutely appreciate that. So he's got a van full of guys with him. So hey, Coach Bennett, I have got to ask you. I mean, there's just so many questions about last season, which is an incredible storybook. I almost feel like it was something that should have been on a movie. All right, let me start with the 8 guys that you had returning. Once you picked up the 19 guys, got to the midway point, rolled into the spring, picked up an additional 12, finally had a roster of 35. Did those 8 guys, were they on that roster of 35, or were there any casualties out of those 8?
There were no casualties out of those 8.
Man, that's awesome. That's good stuff right there, man. That makes you really feel good, especially when they're sitting there. We don't know if we should come back or we need to transfer. We don't even know if there's going to be a team. You said, hey, I put my nose to the grindstone and just started recruiting. What does that mean? How did you start recruiting? How did you find 19 guys to get ready for the fall?
Well, this is where my previous work history paid off. So I spent the last 13 years full time as a realtor, and I knew how to prospect, and I knew how to get on the phone and call people. And get on social media and talk to people, and that's what I did. I just started making phone calls and would talk to the coaches and talk to the players and let them know this is what we're trying to build. This is what my vision is, and if you want to be a part of it, we've got a spot here to give you an opportunity to play at the next level, and this is where we are, and bring it on.
Man, that's good time stuff right there. I got to tell you, I mean, I believe in you just in the little bit of conversation I've had with you. I mean, you just got a way about you, man. You're an exciting guy. You're passionate. You absolutely believe in what you're doing. You're in the thick of it in this van. I'm telling you, I mean, this is all big time stuff. I can understand if the phone rang and you were on the other end, I got to tell you, I think I would start buying in. So that makes me ask, how did you get the 35 guys ultimately? You were saying, all right, we're going to break it down into 3 seasons. We're going to have the we're going to have our regular season, and then we're going to have the postseason. You had a nice plan laid out, but I got to tell you, if you only won 3 games, how did you keep that group together and keep them focusing on the postseason? It seems like you would have lost a lot of faith and a lot of confidence, and it just had to be hard to struggle through 3 wins and keep saying the ultimate goal, though, guys, is out here. How'd you do that?
Yeah, it was tough, and I don't want to make it seem like that it wasn't. We did have some weekends where we had to have some player meetings, and we had some practices where we had to kind of get right with each other because there was some fussing and bickering and things like that because people were getting frustrated. So I don't want to sell it as it was all perfect every week. But the ultimate at the end, you saw that we were able to work through all that, and the way I believe that the way that we did it was the guys love each other. That's one of the things that family when they break out of a huddle, run onto the field. One of the things they say, and they came up with it themselves. I didn't even come up with it. Is family, and I think that they know that they all have each other's backs, and I believe that as we started going forward, and as when we got to regionals and things like that, I think they understood their role on the team. I think they understood that every position, whether it was the pinch runner or the pinch hitter or the guy in the bullpen, things like that. I think that they started to buy in and believe, and I really believe it is just because they love the game of baseball and they love each other. And I know that sounds cliche, but we're the same players. I told them that we're the same players that showed up to regionals as we were that went 0-4 the first weekend on that same field. So we started our season last year at College of the Ozarks and went 0-4, and we ended our and they beat us bad, 14-0, things like that. And we ended our 2023 season on that same field, losing in extra innings to College of the Ozarks. And the thing about them is, I mean, we did get better. Don't get me wrong. We got better, but we were the same team at the end as we were at the beginning. We just weren't the same team mentally. In the end, we were a lot tougher. We loved each other more, and we knew and understood the standard that we had set. We believed in the standard that we had set, and we believed in each other. So that's a long answer for a short question, and I hope it makes sense. But I truly believe it was just the family dynamic and the mental side of of baseball, the mental side of being a team uh, team member, team player, that I really stressed that helped get us to where we got.
Absolutely. It makes all the sense in the
It,
world. You guys were a
it's hard.
family.
It's hard for me to pat myself on the back end because and say that it was something I did because like I said, they're the players on the field. But I feel like the thing that I did was the mental side of it and making them understand why we were there and who we were there for, and just playing for each other and living up to our standard, and it equaled a great regional run.
It was an awesome regional run. I think you had a fantastic year, really an unbelievable year. So let me ask you about this family. How many family members did you have come back for this season?
Ooh, Uh, 20,
So you're
25,
almost
25.
okay. All right. So you've got 25. You're still doing some recruiting then.
We have 45 guys on campus this. We have 45 guys on campus this fall.
Gotcha. All right. That's fantastic, man. So recruiting actually got a little easier for you.
It did. It did. I'm not. And which is crazy. If I told you that that our team went 6-44 last year, and it was the easiest year of recruiting I've ever had, you would think that I was crazy. But it is that it is it actually has been so.
You know what? I would think you were crazy until I actually started talking to you, and then I start getting it. Makes all the sense in the world to me now. So, hey, I gotta say, I saw a picture of you. I was doing a little bit of research, and I saw a picture of you on Twitter, and it looked like you were watching college football, Texas Tech, if I wasn't mistaken, and you were doing a little bit of homework. Are you still taking classes, or is this something that you're just doing for fun?
I am actually still taking classes. I am taking online classes. I'm going back to school and currently enrolled back to school to get a graduate degree from Tech. However, my GPA was not high enough to get into the program, so I'm having to retake some classes to raise my GPA so I can get into the program. So I am in the same boat as most of my players right now, and I can speak to them about low GPAs.
That's good stuff right there, man. That's funny. Hey, so well, let me ask you, with you taking some classes online, hey, how does that help you truly relate to your players? But also, how is that a distraction? Maybe it could be a turnoff as well.
Right. I would hate if somebody thought that it was a turnoff. I do it in the evenings. I do it on the weekends, just like you said. Right now in the fall, while I'm watching college football, I don't plan on. I will take. I have one more class that I'll take in the spring. It'll also be online, but I won't. It won't be a distraction. But it does help me relate to the guys because I know what it feels like. I truly know what it feels like to be in a van trying to get home so you can do your homework and turn it in by 11 o'clock. Or I know what it feels like to have something, have something due and study for it and then make a bad grade. Sometimes I do grade checks every week and I'll get a guy that says, Coach, I studied. I really did. I don't know why I made that grade or whatever. And I understand that. I understand. I spent 2 hours studying for a quiz and made a 40 on it. I understand what you're going through. So it just allows me to be able to have those conversations with them. And I don't know if this is where this fits, but it's something that I got from a colleague a long time ago. And players don't know. It's a saying that I always say. It's players don't know. Players don't care what you know until they know how much you care.
Hmm.
And I think that with me being able to go to, I'm in class 2. I can have that conversation. They understand that I do care about their grades and I do understand what they're going through, and I think it gets to them more and it gives them a little bit more drive. They're like, well, if Coach can make a 85 on his test, maybe I can too.
Man, that's good stuff. Do you have an assignment that is due this evening at 11 o'clock?
I not this week. I did last week.
Okay.
We had a scrimmage last week, and I did have to get home and get it turned in before 11 o'clock.
I
So
love it. I love it. This is good stuff. Hey, again, everyone that's joining, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting Now D1, and thank you for supporting Coach Bennett of Randall University as well. I mentioned earlier that we record this space so that we can retweet it out. We also record it because we turn it into a podcast, and that podcast is Now D1 Speaks. And I got to tell you, it's evenings like tonight is the real purpose of the podcast. It's an opportunity to be able to speak to a coach, find out what college baseball is all about, what the day-to-day life is all about, what the expectations are for the players, some of the trials, tribulations, how they're able to come together and be successful. And on the flip side is certainly for the uncommitted high school, uncommitted junior college, or even guys that are in the transfer portal, gives them an opportunity to be heard and really kind of talk about their makeup, who they are when they're not necessarily on the field. I know that's very important for a coach to be able to hear that as well. So, Coach Bennett, let me ask you something. Randall University, they're in NCCAA. Kind of talk to us a little bit about the difference between the NCAA and the NCCAA. And what I mean by that is there any difference in regards to scholarships or recruiting practices or practice time?
Yes, I'd need a flow chart to explain to you exactly what the NCCAA is, because there are a lot of universities that are dual affiliated. So there's a lot of NAI and Division II schools that are associated with the NCCAA, which is the National Christian College Athletic Association. And then we do have the NCCAA. We do have our own postseason and World Series. So like NAI schools, if they don't make the NAI postseason, they can come to the NCCAA postseason. If that kind of makes sense. We are non-dual affiliated. We are one of 8 schools. I think there's actually 10 or 12. We're one of 8 schools in our area that are non-dual affiliated, and that's what makes up our conference that we play in. Other schools, I'm not. Just for reference, Arlington Baptist, Dallas Christian, College of the Ozarks in Branson, some schools like that. It's kind of what the schools that we play. As far as scholarships, because we are not, it's up to each individual university at our level on what type of scholarships they give and things like that. Our particular university, we don't give quote unquote athletic scholarships. So a lot of times in the recruiting process, that can put us behind some of the other schools. The one big thing for us though is we do have scholarship money. So we offer scholarships based on ACT and GPA for incoming freshmen. If you're a transfer student, we offer scholarships based on your transfer GPA. Those scholarships can range anywhere from $2,800 to $4,800 or $6,800, just depending on what your ACT score was and some things like that. And then we also have scholarship money that comes from each department. So the instead of it being an athletic scholarship, if you're an education major, you can get anywhere from $500 to $5,000 in scholarship money from that department, and it's unlimited. So we're every guy on the team can be on scholarship. Is that kind of, are you kind of following that, kind of making sense a little bit?
It's making all the sense in the world. I
And
absolutely got you. I was not aware of this until you started talking, but I
yeah,
understand you 100%.
and then what the other thing is, I don't know if this was really the question you were asking, but I'm going to go ahead and roll into it. Is, as far as like the athletic scholarships and all that kind of stuff, we still sign NILs. We can still sign NILs, which means you can't be recruited by anyone else. We still have signing days and all that kind of stuff. And at I have guys. I've lost guys in the past because they got a baseball scholarship from another university, whereas ours was based on their ACT and then from whatever department they were decided they wanted to be in. And when you put pencil to paper on tuition and everything, and then subtracted the amount of scholarship money we were going to offer as opposed to what they got in quote unquote baseball money, it would have actually made more financial sense for him and his family for him to come to Randall. But we didn't have that quote unquote baseball scholarship. Um, and so to the other school. And that's kind of the battle that we face, or that I face when we're recruiting, is kind of getting getting those guys to understand at the end of the day, it's all financial aid. At the end of the day, it's whether or not your tuition's being helped paid by someone else. And, is it go where it makes the most financial sense, and as well as baseball sense, not just because somebody says, hey, it's a baseball scholarship.
I couldn't agree with you more. I always kind of think of it in terms of just TCA, just total cost of admission or attendance. Yeah, I mean, I hear you 100%. And it's so true, especially given the baseball landscape and the way baseball scholarships work. Man, you got to have the grades. I know we were joking earlier about GPAs and so forth and what you have in common with the players, but ultimately, it is so true, buddy. The higher that SAT score is or ACT score, the higher your GPA is, it's just more money for the player, and it's more attractive to the coach because it just keeps freeing up other opportunities for other players. It's
Yes.
always
Yeah.
it's always about the classroom in baseball.
Ours, and I'm going to put a little plug in for us. Ours is a 3.0. If you're a high school senior, a 3.0 or a 19 or higher on the ACT guarantees you some scholarship money. And then again, depending on what major you pick, you would still be able to get money from your department also. But as a university, anything over a 3.0 and over a 19 on the ACT, and they do a conversion for the guys out of state that may be in Texas or somewhere that do the SAT. But off the top of my head, it's a 19 on the ACT, and you're guaranteed at least a little bit of scholarship money.
Outstanding, man. Thank you for that plug. Thank you for putting that in. It puts it all in perspective for families and prospects that are listening, even if they're nowhere near going to Randall University, just to understand really what it takes to be able to play college baseball just about anywhere. So thank you.
Right.
So let me ask you about recruiting. How can a player get on your radar? What's the best thing they can do to be noticed? And then if they are on your radar, what's maybe a turnoff that maybe kicks them off the radar?
That's a trick question. No, social media. I mean, I'm on social media. The biggest thing that they can do is reach out to me directly, and just send me a message. I mean, just so many guys send me messages on Twitter, and on social media, and they send me videos and things like that. The next step is usually I will respond to them and send them a link to a recruiting form, and I have them fill out that recruiting form, and then I get an email, and so I know if they've reached out to me, plus they've taken the next step to fill out that recruiting form, and then I'll just shoot them a text and schedule a phone call or something. And I do get behind. There's I'm sure there's probably somebody that's listening to this now that says I sent him a message and I filled out that form and he hasn't responded. I promise you, I have the form. But I get a lot of them, and I'm the one that goes through them individually. So I do respond to them, usually in an email or a text message, and set up a phone call. To answer the second part that I kind of jokingly said was a trick question. There's nothing really that anyone could do, but just besides. I mean, really, I can't think of anything that I would say like, hey, if they did this, that I would take them off of my radar. If I saw them in person and I felt like they weren't a team player, or they weren't a good teammate, or they kind of had a bad attitude, something like that, I would say probably they would come off my radar. But for the most part, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I want to get to know everyone, and talk to them and visit with them, and let them know what we're all about. And so I've never taken a player off of my radar.
All right, man. Good stuff. Well, I got to thank you for putting me on your radar for this evening. This has been an awesome evening, man. I just cannot thank you enough for really taking the time to hop on. I know you have had an extremely long day. I keep thinking about a 16 inning game. Hey, and I'm laughing about not laughing. I guess I'm just thinking about your hour and a half drive back home. Well, gosh, you had to get there too. So I mean, you guys have spent a lot of time in the van, and for you still to take time out, give me a call, go through this podcast, have the energy that you have, the passion you have. I got to tell you, man, I have really, really enjoyed this evening. So thank you, and I hope you're enjoying it as well.
I am. I am enjoying it. Thank you for having me on.
Man, it's big time stuff. Hey, you know what? Maybe we ought to kind of wrap it up just a little bit. And I tell you that the question that's on my mind really is maybe for younger guys. You know, I'm kind of thinking about kids that are just maybe coming into their freshman year of high school and they just really want to be, and they're good baseball players, want to be good baseball players for as long as they can be. What kind of advice would you give them that would potentially really set them up to be able to transition into a college level player and maybe even continue the career further if they had the opportunity?
This is the easiest question that you've asked me all night. Get in the weight room. Get. I mean, there's a lot of other coach speak, and there's a lot of other things, and I'm not gonna the showcases or the camps and all that, but I will tell you the number one thing that I think will set guys apart. And is a must. I shouldn't even say it's going to set them apart. It's going to be a must to be seen and to get opportunities. And it's starting sooner and sooner. Is don't overlook the importance of the weight room, and don't overlook rest. That's one thing. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it in there. I would say don't. I think a lot of times people don't appreciate or they don't understand what rest really means or rest really looks like. Take rest days, but get in the weight room.
That's great advice. I got to tell you, man, your body's definitely your billboard right off the bat. I know that's something that you notice, but man, you got to be strong.
And getting in the weight room is something that guys are going to have to start doing. Freshman, sophomore, junior level, because by the time they get on a college campus, they need to be seasoned and experienced in the weight room, and be able to put on a little bit more weight, probably, and learn how what their body's going to grow into, and it all takes place. It's going to take place in the weight room.
Man, that's fantastic advice. Absolutely appreciate that. And that's something that everybody they can absolutely do. Hey, coach, again, man, what a fantastic night. I just cannot thank you enough. Man, I'm so excited for you and your program and the guys that you have. I love that you set the stage. One of the things that, the running out of the dugout, saying family, I think that's a big thing that's probably going to carry over from year to year. But it was really one of the things that you kept also emphasizing was that you set the standard. You kind of mentioned that several times about last year. You just kind of set a standard. And I love that. I mean, I think you got a great baseline to work off of, ton of excitement around this program. And I got to believe you guys are just absolutely on the up and up right here. So I'm happy for you, man.
Well, thank you very much. That standard. I know we're about trying to wrap it up, but one thing I just we always preach is do if at the end of the game it doesn't matter what the scoreboard says, if we can look at each other and say we lived up to our standard and we did these things the right way and we did these things that were asked of us. The scoreboard's going to eventually take care of itself, and that showed. I mean, that showed when we were at regionals last year, and it'll show up again going forward.
Absolutely, man. That's big time stuff right there. Hey, you guys be safe. Safe travels right here. And I wish nothing but the best of success for all of y'all moving forward.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And everybody who joined, thank you for being here. And I will see you tomorrow night. So thank you. Hey, let me ask you something. Are you ready to dominate at the plate this season? Blast Baseball is the #1 hitting improvement solution, trusted by more major league, college, and travel ball teams than any other. The Blast sensor attaches to the knob of any bat, providing real-time feedback with every swing. Metrics are automatically sent to a smartphone app, generating insights that allow you to analyze and improve your hitting like never before. Go to blastmotion.com and enter code NOWD1 and you will save $25 at checkout. Unlock your potential with Blast.